All right, what is up, my nerds? All right, this is the second part of 4.2, and this is the trickiest part of 4.2. So bear with me, hang tight, play this video a couple of times. I'm really going to talk to you about just one particular difference in monopolies than what we learned in the previous video. Okay, we're going to talk about price discrimination. I think you guys are, probably vocab literate enough to know what price discriminant means. I'm going to show you on the econ side what it means, and look at a couple of graphs and then be done. But let us first talk about a couple definitions. So price discrimination, just what you probably think it is, it's the practice of selling the products to different buyers at different prices. In other words, I can charge the person that's willing to pay $15 $15. I can charge the next person that's willing to pay $12 $12, and I can discriminate based on some set of criteria. Now, we look at the word discrimination as very negative. However, when we're talking about economics and we're talking about prices, we see this every day. Some examples of things that we see, airline tickets, they can change from the time of the year that you buy it, how far in advance you buy it. If you're going on vacation 6 months from now and you buy tickets, they're a whole lot cheaper than a business guy who might have to buy a ticket tomorrow for a trip he's got to take tomorrow. Movie theaters actually price discriminate depending on how old you are. Anytime someone uses coupons to pay for something, coupons is just a piece of paper that really truly has no value. That's just a store that's decided to sell something cheaper to someone who sat down and decided to clip coupons out. And then even our football games, depending on if you are a student or just someone walking in the gate, you may get a different price based on some preset criteria. Okay, so this gives us a relatively different looking graph that we're going to take a look at in a minute, because notice right here it says that they're looking to charge each consumer what they are willing to pay to increase profits. So if somebody wants to come in and pay full price for a Toyota Camry instead of shopping around and trying to get the best price, then they're going to charge them the highest price that they possibly can. So where we see this really impact us is it depends on what our demand is. Like I said before, if we sit down and we look at plane tickets, we're going to go to we're flying out to San Francisco for vacation, and the price is high. If we have an elastic demand, we may not purchase those tickets. We may either decide to go somewhere else, or we may wait. Where a business person may have an inelastic demand. I have to be in San Francisco on Monday. I have no option. My boss says I have to be there. I have to meet with a client. Now all of a sudden they have to pay more. All right. A few conditions that have to be in place for price discrimination to happen. One, you got to have monopoly power, because if they're going to charge a certain price, then they can't have competition where someone could possibly charge a lower price. You got to be able to segregate the market. In other words, you got to be able to tell who the senior citizen is. You got to be able to tell who the student is, whatever the set criteria is for the discount or the different pricing. And then the consumer must not be able to resell the product. That's another piece of what price discrimination is all about. Let me just say that the good news to this is you're not going to have to remember all that. That's just kind of setting it up for you. Once again, if you were to get a question on the exam or a question on one of our tests, and it mentions price discrimination, hopefully that would send off an alarm. That would begin to ring a bell that something fishy is going on. And so we'll take a look at the graph here and see what happens. But I want you to watch here on the table what begins to happen, because it's different than what we already know about a monopoly. So if we have our price of our widgets at $11, nobody wants to buy any, our total revenue $0, our marginal revenue obviously isn't none, because we haven't sold anything. But if we lower our price to $10 and we get a quantity demand of 1, our total revenue is 10, our marginal revenue is 10. That's pretty much the same for all markets we've seen. Here's where it gets a little bit interesting when we're talking about price discrimination. If you recall from a monopoly, a non-discriminating monopoly, they couldn't charge this person $10 and then this person $9. However, a price discriminating monopoly possibly would. If one person's willing to pay me $10, I will make that sale. I will put $10 in my cash register, and I just went from 0 to $10, right? Second person walks in, they're willing to pay $9. I take that $9, I put it in the cash register, and that sale increased our marginal revenue $9. Okay? That continues to take place because the next sale, the next unit, the next item that we sell, it's going to go up. The marginal revenue is going to go up the amount of the price. Okay? And this just follows the graph all the way out. Notice something right here, and I'm going to show it to you on the graph here in a second. Notice the price, and notice the marginal revenue. Those are the same. Therefore, when we graph for price discriminating monopolies, the marginal revenue equals the demand. All right? So, if we're looking at a non-price discriminating monopoly, we get our monopoly gang sign. All of our cost curves are the same. We know that in a price discriminating monopoly, that marginal revenue now equals the price, or it equals the demand, right? And so we lose that marginal revenue monopoly gang sign, okay? Because now the demand and the marginal revenue is the exact same curve, all right? That actually makes it a little easier. It really turns it like into perfect competition. It's very similar to something that we already know, where these things are together. You're just going to have to be able to come up with a way in your brain, a way in your mind, that when you're talking about price discriminating monopolies, that you can get rid of that marginal revenue line being separate of the price or the demand curve. Okay, so they're going to produce where MR equals MC, just like everyone else would. So we're going to identify the price, the profit, the consumer surplus, and the dead weight loss. There's only one tricky piece of this, because you're going to know everything else. Okay, our price, obviously, I didn't want that to come up just yet. Let's take a look at, all right, let's do this here. Our price is going to be located there. Our profit is going to be above the ATC there. But notice how the profit is not this little square that we have anymore. And here's the reason. Here's the reason. If the first person is willing to pay $11, we're going to charge him $11. The second person is willing to pay $10, we're going to charge him $10. Third person is willing to pay $9, we're going to charge him $9. This is a little bit tricky, okay? Because the all of these different quantities have a different price, okay? And so the profit will be seen anywhere above the ATC all the way up to the price, right? Because if I'm making, if my total cost is $5 and I can sell it for 11, I'm making 6. Didn't mean to do that. If my total cost is $5 and I can sell it for 10, then I'm making 5. Okay. Consumer surplus. Where would consumer surplus be there? There wouldn't be any consumer surplus, right? All of this would be producer surplus, and then obviously there's not a deadweight loss because we are, or the monopoly is providing what society wants. Okay? So yeah, price discriminating results in several prices, more profit, no consumer surplus, because think about it. He used all his money. He used all of his money. He used all of his money, right? And so, so yeah, it's going to have several prices, more profit, no consumer surplus, and a higher socially optimal quantity than a regular monopoly would. Okay, that's it. That's short and sweet. That one's a little bit tricky. I would roll back through this particular PowerPoint a couple of times before quiz day on Monday. And by all means, jot down some questions. I'll probably go over this one in our Zoom session just so that you guys can bounce questions and stuff off of me. But anyway, other than that, enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you guys soon.